What's up, addicts? Trevor Sikkema here. With college football upon us and with the summer scouting series all finished, I wanted to recap that series with something that draft fans seem to love, and that is a My Guy exercise, where I'm going to take 10 players that I talked about during summer scouting and plant my flag right on their scouting report going into the season to say this is somebody who I'm stamping with my approval. This is somebody who I really am excited to watch this college football season. It's not necessarily going to be the number one player on every positional list. Could be a round one guy, could be a day two guy, could be a day three guy, whatever it is, wherever their projection lies. This is somebody who I'd love to have on my football team for a variety of different reasons. And we're going to start at the quarterback position, and we're going to start with a player who, if you told me this guy was going to be on a My Guys list for me a year ago, I'd have called you crazy. I would have laughed you out of the room. It's Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. Now, if you watched the summer scouting episode that we had with quarterbacks, you know how I feel about this dude. I was totally out on him when he was a prospect at Auburn. And the reason why is because we had 3 years of starting experience with Bo Nix, and yet he just could not improve when it came to play under pressure. Last year, a 70.8 passing grade under pressure, which was similar to that of Bryce Young, who we praised for his play under pressure. Nix also had 4 big-time throws and 0, count them, 0 turnover-worthy plays when pressure was ramped up on him. So that is something that totally shows progression from what we saw at Auburn, what was holding him back versus what could make him a really good NFL prospect, because he's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the athleticism, and if he's playing well under pressure, that's somebody that I'm looking forward to watching here again to see if he can continue to improve that play in those and other areas. Next on the list, in no particular order, we have Laiatu Latu, the pass rusher from UCLA. Now, he's got a really interesting story that, man, the fact that he's even still playing football is incredible. He started his career at Washington, but he suffered a neck injury early on in his career that almost forced him to medically retire. Washington's football program was not going to medically clear him to play football again. They thought it was too dangerous, that he was going to injure himself, and it really wasn't going to be good. But he took some time off from the game, ended up going to UCLA. They were able to clear him, and it looks like that injury is a thing of the past, especially for how well he played last year. 91.0 pass rush grade, 20.1 pass rush win percentage. Those are some seriously successful numbers. And man, his pass rush profile is awesome. He's got a two-hand swipe to him. You see a Euro step, a long arm, the dip and rip, the club rip. He's got everything, man. He has got the size of 6'5", 265 pounds, and he's got the pass rush profile already in his game to be somebody very high on your edge rush rankings. And anytime you're watching a UCLA game, man, make sure you're keeping an eye on Latu. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Number 3, we've got Duke offensive tackle Graham Barton. This is somebody who PFF loves. He had a 86.9 run blocking grade last year, which run blocking grade, it's a pretty stable metric when you talk about scouting. Not every PFF data point is going to be as easily translatable from college to the pros, but run blocking, that's something that seems to be pretty consistent. If you're a great run blocker at the college football level, you should still be a good run blocker when you get to the NFL. But something also that really stood out to me, and a reason why I like this guy, his movement skills in pass protection. Now, he might not have the arm length that everybody desires. You know, he might be somebody who some teams have as an interior offensive lineman. I feel like we're going to have that same sort of Peter Skoronski conversation. But wherever you have him, he's just a damn good player. 78.9 pass blocking grade on true pass sets, which takes out, RPOs, play action, screens, things like that would really make an offensive lineman's job easy. No. This is when he is going one-on-one on a traditional drop back with the quarterback in a passing situation, and he's got to block the dude in front of him for an extended period of time, something a little bit longer than 2 seconds. He fared very well in that area. So I'm of the same mindset that I saw Skoronski. Hey, let him fail a tackle before you kick him inside a guard, but no matter where you have him, like I said, just damn good offensive lineman. This is the kind of player that you want. I'll stick along the interior offensive line, and I'm going to go with Javion Cohen. I've looked at some rankings after summer scouting, and it seems like I am higher on interior offensive lineman Javion Cohen. He was at Alabama, was starting at Alabama at left guard. Now he is at the University of Miami, so we're going to get to see him for the first time with the Canes this upcoming season. This guy's got some awesome reps in his tape, man. Now, not to say that it's all consistent, and I understand that might be a reason why I'm buying into the highs a little bit more than other people, but man, when it's good, He'll lock you up and he will throw you to the dirt. There's a couple of different plays where he's blocking not just one, but two guys looking left and right, always looking for that extra work. He's got great balance to him for guys that are coming from all different directions, whether it's interior defensive linemen, edge rushers, or even linebackers who are coming on some delayed blitzes. If you get into his chest, good chance you're not getting away from him and he's going to bury you into the dirt and making sure he finishes that block. So that mentality and that smooth moving balance that he has makes me think that his ceiling for interior offensive line play is really high. So Javion Cohen, I feel like I'm a lot higher on him than some other people. He's somebody who I'm planting my flag on as a my guy here going into this season. Another player who I think this exercise definitely is for on my rankings is Adonai Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell, as they call him. He was at Georgia the last 2 years. Now he is in Texas with a stacked wide receiver room. So I don't know if he's going to be a target hog getting 100 targets this year because they got Xavier Worthy, they got Jatavian Sanders. They got so many different guys that they could throw the ball to. But I think A.D. Mitchell is absolutely going to be a force. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. He hasn't played a ton of football over the last couple of years, especially last year. He missed a lot of time. But I feel like I can already see it with him. His footwork off the line of scrimmage, his releases, how he can sink his hips despite being 6'4" in and out of his breaks. I feel like we're talking about a guy who could be a route running savant, not just next year, but also at the NFL level. So it's the size, it's the flexibility, and it's that footwork that I absolutely love from A.D. Mitchell. I know he doesn't have the stats to wow people right now, but I'm telling you, turn on the tape. I feel like you like what you're going to see. And in Texas this year, I feel like they're going to be throwing it a lot with Quinn Ewers back there. So Mitchell is going to be somebody who's going to continue to be on your TV on Saturdays. We'll stick with wide receiver. I'm going to go back to the SEC for this one. South Carolina's Antoine Juice Wells. This is somebody whose game I love. Now, the long speed and the overall athleticism, that separation ability just as an athlete, there might be some question marks there for Wells. But even with defenders kind of close to him, this dude's a contested catch monster. He's one of the most competitive players on the field at all times, regardless of position. And if the ball is coming his way, chances are he's going to come down with it. And he showed that with 8 contested catches. 94 of his catchable balls were caught last year. He's just a super competitive player with a mentality and a makeup that I love. His background is really inspiring too. Football career in college started at Fork Union Military Academy in Virginia, but then he transferred over to JMU, James Madison, really good football program there. Set the single season record for catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns before transferring to South Carolina. And now he's showing out on an SEC stage. So it's a talented wide receiver class. But Juice Wells, man, don't forget about him. When he's making those highlight reel catches on Saturdays, you remember where you heard it first. Next guy on the list, Josh Newton, the cornerback from TCU. Simply put, how is this guy not in the NFL already? I mean, his tape is fantastic, and he was draft eligible last year. I do this for a living, and I feel like I barely even heard about him. I didn't even rank him last year. Here I am watching the same tape that would have been available, and I'm saying that this guy could be a late first, early second round type of player. Had a ton of production on the ball with 14 forced incompletions, and that's because his all-around athleticism is great. He's somebody who could play that press man assignment for you. He's got that quick feet. The hips can flip really fast, and then when he's got to put his foot in the ground to keep up with wide receivers up the sideline, he's got the long speed to match too. 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, redshirt senior. You just don't see many redshirt senior defensive backs stand out the way that he does. I feel like he was really overlooked in last year's corner class, and I'm really excited to see him play and hopefully lock down a lot more receivers in this upcoming college football season. Marquise Bucky Irving, the running back from Oregon, is the next one on this list. Look at that. I got Oregon's quarterback and I got the running back here on the My Guys list. Now, Trey Benson, who is at Florida State now and is RB1 according to NFLSE going into this season, he was at Oregon. And so anytime you lose an RB1 type candidate, you're thinking, man, we really missed out big time on that one. And maybe they did because Benson is at the top spot, but Irving, he's awesome. He is such a playmaker in his own right. Comes over from Minnesota, gets to Oregon, and he's been putting on a show ever since. This dude has a true playmaker's mentality. When he gets in the open field, which he is able to do pretty easily with his athleticism, he's looking to make defenders foolish. 0.43 forced missed tackles per attempt was Bijan Robinson level elusiveness last year in 2022 from Bucky Irving. He also had a 93.5 rushing grade, which was one of the highest rushing grades that we had in all of college football. It's tough losing Trey Benson, but when you have the chance to watch this guy tote the rock for you, that's where it doesn't sting so bad. So make sure that you are watching Bucky Irving and the entire Oregon offense this upcoming season. I'll stick with running back for my next player, Mayan Williams from Ohio State. Now, a lot of people are going to talk about Travion Henderson because Henderson, before he got hurt, he was on the RB1 track, man. And I think there are a lot of people who still like him as potentially the best running back in college football and in the upcoming NFL draft. But the guy who is his running mate, the thunder to his lightning, the smash to his dash is Mayan Williams. And we saw a really productive Williams last year as Henderson was hurt. He had an elite rushing grade of 91.5 last season. And this is what we're talking about with this guy. He has a quote and it says, when he was growing up playing high school football, they kept giving me the ball. I kept running people over. That's why I continue to play the game. And that's why I love to play the game. That's the mentality that you want, baby. He's not going to be a make you miss type of a guy. He's a bigger back, but he'll give you everything he has when he's going through contact. He's like Damian Pierce and Tyler Algier in that regard. 4.3 yards after contact per attempt, people. That's fantastic work. That shows you the power profile this guy has. And if you're trying to tackle him, you better bring your friends. I'm always going to love running backs like that. Last guy on the list. It pains me as a Florida Gator to do this, but I got to give a respect to the Georgia Bulldogs slot corner, Javon Bullard. He is one of my favorite prospects that I watch because, man, he is fire when he is out there. He wants to make the play at all times. He plays primarily from that slot, but you could use him as a safety as well. I feel like he reminds me a little bit of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and how we have seen him be used in the NFL. Now, Bullard, 5'10", 5'11", 190 pounds, a little bit smaller than what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was coming into the league, but perhaps that kind of hybrid safety slot corner role, that's where he is going to hone in the NFL. And I think that he's going to because, man, this guy got on the field at Georgia, played 14 of his first 15 games as a true freshman. You don't do that on a Kirby Smart defense unless you are passionate about the little things. Run defense, being in your gap, sound technique, effort at all times. And that is what Javon Bullard does. Love to see him get a little bit more impact on the ball, but shoot, man, the stats already say that he's able to do that pretty well. 2 interceptions, 6 forced incompletions coming from the slot. This dude is playing with his hair on fire at all times, and you absolutely love that. Give me football players like that. When it comes to slot corners, man, pure slot corners is just what they do. I didn't find one better than Javon Bullard. There we go. That's 10 players that I'm stamping as my guys heading into the college football season. We got a ton of tape that we're about to watch over the next 3 to 4 months. So a lot can change between now and then, but I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Going into the season, you don't got to give me 10, even if it's just one. Who are your guys? Who would you plant the flag on? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, like I said, that top guy at every position, just that somebody who you love what they're all about. Mental makeup, the strengths they bring to the game, how you could see them fit in the NFL. I'd love to hear from you. Those are my 10 guys. Let's hear yours.